He sends me all the stuff that's hard. Because if it's easy, he does it. So, well, it's all right. I appreciate whatever he gives me. And he sent me a guy, he wanted these rosettes. And all the guy had was a big, oversized picture of them. He took it somewhere in San Francisco. He's going to put it in his place in Oak Park. And he did 13 on the outside of his building. He was going to paint them with white epoxy and all kinds of stuff. So we settled on using poplar. It's a hardwood. It's not the best hardwood, but it's the cheapest hardwood. So he wanted to use cedar. Cedar is just a mess to turn. You get a ton of tear out with cedar. It ain't worth the doing. I've turned a lot of stuff with cedar for people. I don't care for it, so I try to steer people away. So he gave me this picture. There was nothing on it, so I said, well, I need specs on it. So he come back with that. He come back with a drawing like this. So this was what I needed. And I took it and I glued it to a thin piece of cardboard. And I brought this with you because save your cereal boxes and your nice quality board for doing stuff like that, making patterns and stuff. I throw very little stuff away. The cheap Home Depot bags, they're garbage, right? You cut off the tops, lay them out, and that's for gluing stuff up so it don't stick to your bench. The problem is you might get the pattern of the logo on your backside of your thing. But you can sand that off. So anyway, I use this cardboard to make these templates that gives me what I have to have for, if it's gonna be an extensive job that the guy might want 60 or 70, I'll usually put them on aluminum siding, what they cover soffits and stuff with, and then cut that out. It'll hold up a little better for you. But for 13 or so, just cardboard's fine. So you make your pattern so you can figure where stuff goes. Okay, on this particular one, I start out, he gave me some straight boards. You draw your circle, you bore your 3/8 hole that fits onto a screw chuck. Now if you bought your chuck, you got the screw chuck attachment with it. It takes about a 3/8, you go a couple little sizes bigger than 3/8, it makes it easier to get on and off. If your screw is too long and it's going to come through the face, you don't want it to come through the face, you can make wooden washers, spacers. And you just put them on.
Carefully.
Yeah, carefully. This is an old one. And that'll give you the right spacing. You only need a couple of threads to hold anything. I talked to an engineer one time, what's the strongest thing on a bolt? How many threads before it's strong? He said 1. If you can get it past the first thread, it's as strong as it's going to be. Going all the way isn't going to make it that much stronger. So I believe him. So you cut your boards a little rougher and you beat them. Put a compass in here, draw your thing, drill your hole in the compass hole, and set your drill press so you don't go all the way through. This is the thickness he wanted it. It's about 1 inch. Then you take it to the bandsaw and you cut it round. It saves you a lot of time. I've also made rosettes out of squares. A little trick here, you gotta watch your fingers when it's spinning, but it can be done. Now you screw this guy on, And sometimes this gets really tough. For some reason, either the wood is shrunk or something, but when I first put these on, I couldn't do it by hand. So you get one of these plumber straps. Home Depot, all different places sell them. And especially when you've been turning a while, sometimes it gets, the thing about going against the tools, it'll actually be tighter than when you first put it on, and you can't get it off. And then you lock it on, and you can get it as tight as you want. And it also will take it off. They also have smaller ones for taking off 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. Sometimes you get that stuff out of real hardwoods, get on so tight you can't get them off. And when you get them slick and smooth, then it becomes harder and harder. Plus, I'm getting weaker and weaker. I think I got about half the strength I used to have. There used to be, there wasn't a jar I couldn't open. Now, the old age is a bitch. But, okay, so now you got your piece on here. You use your Aitchinson tool rest. Now, if anybody wants a tool rest, I'll make one for you. And you can also have one that goes in like a 1 inch thing to go in for doing deep little boxes and stuff. You can also get a curved one that will go around the backside. And usually I'm about half price. If you see it in the catalog for $100, I'll probably make it for you for 50. And that's because I think these tools are overpriced, and I'm trying to help people by giving them a better deal. Okay, so now we got it. And I've got everything marked on my template where it goes. So I want to find the center. Okay, I've got a center mark on here. So if you can line that up. Now I can make my next line, my next line. Okay, now I've actually got that going on. All my lines indicate where these different shoulders and coves and beads are. So it's just been done on the bandsaw. If you set your tool rest up right, I'm going to have to come back a little. You can get both sides. So your first thing is getting it to the first line, the round. you're looking back here, of course, is where your profile is going to be. Now I believe in a negative grind tool for finishing. So if you get a nice old scraper and you retool it, and it'll take off just the hair, and it'll get everything nice and clean. And you'll hardly have to sand at all. The better the wood, the better it'll work. This is the poplar. It's considered a hardwood, but it's not that hard. Okay, now I just turn my tool rest, and I'm ready to do the face. After you do 10 or 20 of these, you get to the point where you can do it without measuring. It's, okay. Here's the template for this side as well. Okay. Now I've got all these tools. I've got about 4 regular tools.
Can we send this one around and let everybody
Sure,
see it?
sure. I can sell it to you if you want it. All right, your first line is a cove. Now I got the cove done. Now I just want to clean it up, the negative grind again. That part's done. Now my first shoulder is 1/4 inch. So I set my depth gauge at 1/4 inch. Now I found out when I made the first one, you can't cut these middle ones because you got to measure off of that. So now, okay, now we're quite a ways to go yet. See, you're coming off the front. All right, that's good. 1/4 inch. Now my next move is in the middle there. Now I made this tool out of a piece of file. Files are good to, it's no good if you go this way. It's not strong enough, it'll crack on you. But this way is all right, you're not taking a big bite. Now you can cut with the front of the tool here, but you can also cut with the side. That's what I'm doing here. I'm coming in at an angle, and I'm touching the side, cleaning that up. Now normal tools ain't gonna work because you only need about 330 seconds of a groove in here, and all your tools you buy are going to be bigger than that. There again, we want to go 1/4 inch. We gotta go just a little deeper. Okay, now our next move is to the middle. Like I said, once I get rolling on these, I was getting them out in about 16, 17 minutes. And I charged the guy 50 cents a minute, so I was doing all right.
He said the original cost, right?
Now this one's going a little deeper. It's 3/8. You see, because I got it flat here, all right, these two are still the original size. I can get down to 3/8. Okay, now the last is a cove in the middle, and we need that one to be 5/8. It's the deepest one. Like I said, once you get rolling on, you do multiple ones. You almost can do these without measuring. You'll do them rough, and then you'll measure and say, "Oh yeah, I did it." This is a cove. Now, you don't have that shoulder next to the cove, so you get a straight edge, hold it on there, and you measure from there. Okay, quite a ways to go there. Now, if coves can be tricky, especially if they're tight. I make this other tool. It's of steel. The edge is round. So you can come in and clean up a cove that you've made that isn't quite right. Just a little more. Here it is. All right, here it is. This is a round scraper, and it's got the bevel on both sides. It's a negative grind again. This will clean up very nicely because this is kind of rough now. There is a lot of measuring because you want them to come out the same. All right, that's deep enough. Now that we've got all our depths right, now you can make your beads where you gotta make them. And we're done. A little sanding, and if we got any tear out, a little bondo, a little more sanding, and they're ready for paint. Okay, it comes off.
What grit sandpaper you start with?
120 is usually what I start and finish with, because it's getting painted.
Bill, for outside, I've heard that poplar is probably one of the better woods if you're gonna paint it for holding shape.
The paint is the trick. If you put enough paint on it, you can make it waterproof, you know.
But I mean, does poplar tend to hold paint better than some other hardwoods?
No, they're all about the same. If you get them raw and you use a very good primer, the trick is you gotta use a good primer, maybe 2 coats, if it's gonna be outside or it's near water or something, and then a little light sanding, and then put your finish coat on. Now remember, paint, if you read the small print or you call up the manufacturer, they'll say it dries touch in about 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half. You go on, it'll say completely dry in 30 days. Most people don't understand that 30-day deal. So you paint a window and you close it 10 hours later and you can't open it. Well, they don't have them kind of windows anymore, so it don't matter. But I'm doing a front door for somebody. I say, okay, we'll do your door. What do you want? Pick your color, pick your pattern, whatever. We'll take the door off, take off all the hardware. We'll put in a piece of plywood or a cheap bedroom door. Sometimes you can buy a bedroom door cheaper than a piece of plywood. Screw that to the frame, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Take the door home, sand it, whatever we gotta do to it. Then the primer, then the 2-3 coats of paint, and then let it dry for a week.
Let's put them to the test.
That's pretty close. Now these are gonna be 3 stories off the ground, I think.
Be aware that usually they're not on top of each other like that. It's very difficult to tell how the difference in them.
So I gave him the best price I could. I'm not gonna teach you with the pencil. But it's always time and material with me. So I never lose anymore. I've lost for 40 years. I quit losing. So, like I say, if you give me a week, I'll be good as hell on them, you know. I'm a better turner at the end of the day than the beginning. And I haven't turned in a couple months.